Hey y'all, conservative brother Daly here, back with another rant. I wanted to talk about WNBA welfare queens. Yeah, I said it. WNBA welfare queens. And what I mean by that is that it's just a complicated history with the WNBA and NBA. Obviously, it's been a very phenomenal last few years with, everything Caitlin Clark's brought to the game, Angel Reese, and to be honest, none of us was really talking about the WNBA 3, 4 years ago. Let's just call a spade a spade. And I think Jason Whitlock once again kicked off a very interesting conversation. I wanted to continue about just the state of the WNBA and kind of how Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are changing that for the good and the better. I think it started a couple years ago when I believe, yeah, Angel Reese was still at LSU and Caitlin Clark was at Iowa State. And the fact that, Caitlin Clark kind of came through there, was putting points on the board, gaining his following, doing all this types of stuff. And, without a doubt, just kind of was elevating the game, was drawing a following. People for years, attendance for women's college women's college basketball skyrocketed for the first time in years. You got people following her to all her games, and it's Angel Reese to an extent. But what started out as their little rivalry in college, where Angel Reese was like, "Yeah, I'll play the villain. If y'all want me to be that." I think Angel Reese, looking back, was kind of smart to kind of do that, play that role, because she was kind of playing like the victim, like, "Oh, if you guys want to make me the victim, then okay, fine, I'll do that." When it's like, well, no, you kind of instigated things with Caitlin Clark to begin with to kind of get that sort of bully status. And then like you'll just see situations where like, oh, all of a sudden if she does something like off script or like off of, unseemly off the court, everybody be like, why is everybody hammering down on Angel Reese? She's just a woman. She's just a teenager. Why are you trying to adult her? And then it comes to things where she's doing the shade Caitlin Clark or all this other stuff. It's like they want to have selective outrage on when to. Uh, they always want to have selective outrage of when to defend Angel Reese. Sometimes, I will admit what Jason Whitlock said. I mean, they are bringing an attention back to WNBA we haven't seen even to the recent WNBA draft. Even though I didn't get a chance to watch it, just looking at some photos on here, they brought back another level of femininity that I think's been missing from the WNBA. Now, this brings me to my to get all the sugarcoating out the way. This brings me to a really good point the folks over at Fearless and Jason Whitlock brought up on how even despite the ratings, there still seems to be this sort of, at least internally at WNBA, like this very sort of hate and just disdain for Caitlin Clark. Obviously, everybody's been talking about her recently not being picked for the Olympics. Some call it political on both sides. Obviously, she could be a very great marketing piece, for it. But then they're also saying, well, she's her first year. She's not qualified. I think she's qualified for some skills, but that remains, that's just my opinion. So I could kind of see both sides of it on how politically they're saying, oh, well, it's just her first year here. She doesn't meet certain qualifications, and we don't want her to to give all this attention and become a marketing tool. But at the same time, I think for the past 10 years, the women's Olympic team, they've, done really well. I think they finished number one for a few years in a row, yet they still don't have the ratings, the gravitas, the pull to make the type of revenue that could transfer to being the WNBA being profitable, or even the women's Olympics team being profitable. So sometimes you do have to play the game and realize, okay, we got this cash cow, Caitlin Clark. I mean, she got her $28 million deal, and she bringing all these eyeballs to the WNBA, and we might as well use that to our advantage for the Olympics. From the business mind. And I think a lot of people, once again, if Caitlin Clark didn't have the amount of attention but still brought in the same skills and stats, I think likely she would have been part of the Olympic team this year. I think they kind of it was just internally some politics going, like egos, like, well, nah, she got too much tension going on, even though she had the skills to back it up. Even though the skills aren't really what they need. I mean, the women's team still goes to the Olympics each time. U.S. team in the Olympics and does really well, finishes number one. But still, next bone I got to pick is the fact that how do I put this? Let's see here. Yeah, like why do we tend to um why is there all this sort of like, and it continues, and I think a lot of people who are kind of uninformed, you just kind of hear it as background noise. You tend to go like, yeah, I think women should get paid. I think WNBA women should get paid more. They shouldn't have to be flying commercial flights and be flooded by fans, and they shouldn't, they should be able to get 10 times the salary. But at the end of the day, the NBA going on over 20 years is still footing the bill for the WNBA. The WNBA hasn't turned a profit to the point where it can sustain on its own. So it's really the back of the NBA that's still footing the bill for the WNBA to still operate. And I think there's a good point brought up on how instead of kind of addressing this, or at least giving some gratitude to the NBA, there's this whole sort of just toxic feminism, sort of just like, oh, well, she get paid more. Oh, it's because of men and we're not here. Instead of just being like, hey, at the end of the day, they are still footing the bill for this. Maybe we should look internally and see what reasons. I mean, Caitlin Clark can be a path out of that. But at the end of the day, the WNBA going on 10 years is still unprofitable. And why is that? And, and why is the NBA still fitting the bill where it kind of creates these so called WNBA welfare queens? So I hate to say it like that. And there's no shade against Dana Taurasi or Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark or, even any of the other ones I can't really name. Um, but at the same time, there's this sort of just this, and then you got the simps and the cucks that sort of just parrot the talking points too, like, well, we should get paid more. Oh, we should do this. Or at the end of the day, those same people on Twitter and online just yelling it from the mountaintop. These are people who probably never attended a WNBA game before Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. They've never worn an WNBA jersey. They never bought the merch. They never followed or watched the games or attended the games. So it's very easy to once again armchair quarterback activism or armchair activism, where these are the same people that are shouting this, whether they're on Twitter, they haven't done anything to really support the WNBA, or maybe at least write them a check. They just shout it from the rooftop and don't realize the complicated politics of it. You know, um, so so yeah, that's all I got to say on that. Um, let's see here. Hold on, still working this thing out. Oh, okay, that's the wrong one. Okay, all right. All right, so I hope you guys can still see my screen. That's pretty much all I got. Just wanted to kind of put that out there. And yeah, this WNBA, I hope they continue to rise in the ratings. I hope they get to a place, whether it's started by what Caitlin Clark is doing, driving these ratings, that, they can get to a place where it's profitable and we won't have any more of this sort of hate men, blame men on everything going on. When the WNBA has, Caitlin Clark has shown there's potential for it to be profitable, for it to sustain on its own, and for everybody to win, to rise, to lift all boats. So I'll talk to you guys later and have a good one.